Ooh, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode. New location, actually same location,
Yeah.
just a different spot in that location. Welcome back to another episode of Grass Station Podcast. We talk about anime life and everything in between. I'm Matt,
I'm Robert.
I'm Alonzo.
and once again, we got a nice one here for you. Real nice one. A little, kind of different topic than we normally talk about. A little bit about social media this time around, but yeah. But before we get into all that, Saturday. How's everybody enjoying the weekend?
It's good. It's good. It's been a long one. Been a long one. Been everywhere this weekend. Recently though, I went to my mom's because I'm taking a trip next week, so I gave my mom the dog back. And while I got there, it was like 2 o'clock or whatever, and she was still in the bed. So then I was like, so the dog comes up, she jumps on her bed, or whatever, and then she's like, I mean, you just leaving the dog? And I'm like, yeah, this is what I told you I was about to do. I gotta pack and stuff. And then before I left, I was like, you know what, I need to do something that'll be like, I helped her out in some way. So she was like, oh, I'm putting this table together. I forgot to put, I have to put the glass top on top of it. And I was like, I'm a man. I'm getting this glass top. I'll put it on top of the thing, right? And I take it out of the box. I was like, all right, this box don't feel that heavy. And I go and I go to lift it up, man. And it's so awkward because one, it's glass, so it's like super slippery, right? And then two, it's like weird shape and like how I have to like angle it to like set it down. And I almost drop it. Or I'm like this fucking close that I almost drop it. And I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna do it. And I asked my mom, I'm like, you got any gloves? You like gloves?
Get
So
some grip.
I need, yeah. And she was like, yeah, I got some gloves in there. I put the gloves on, put it up there, and it looks great. But I'm just like, man, if I would have dropped that table,
She would have never forgiven. She would have
Right.
never not
she
brought it
would
up
take
again.
this fucking dog too and get out my house.
Your mom would have brought that up whenever she ever asked you for anything the rest of your life. She'd be like,
Right.
you don't drop it like the glass, though.
No, drop
It would have
it.
brought up forever.
Never
Forever,
let me
dude.
live it down ever, right?
Nope, no way. No way.
But that's my day.
Oh, I had yesterday off, Friday off. So I went and got my car looked at, had an interview with a government agency. We'll see how that goes. They said they'll call back with like in 2-3 weeks. So we'll see how that goes. Today I ain't been doing shit. Cut my grass and then watch some TV. Waiting for the basketball game to come on tonight. Rest of the weekend, I'm just gonna be chilling, man. Class is over. Graduation is Monday. I'm not going, but still, degrees are gonna be conferred, so I'm happy.
It's normal
Oh,
for
well
grad
done.
school graduations. Ain't nobody going to them shits.
Right. I ain't trying to sit out in the sun for 2.5 hours.
Right.
No to that.
Fair enough. It is hot. But yeah, I mean, I did. I got some grocery shopping done. I'm gonna cook tonight. Probably gonna make some. Someone do some urban crusted chicken this week. Urban crusted chicken. Do that, but I might do some. It's like some sausage and peppers just for tonight, though. Just a little Saturday night, something different, you know. But yeah, I went to Aldi to grocery shop today, and when I went there, I was in like the freezer section or whatever, and I see all this commotion, right? I hear all this commotion, and I'm like, what the frick? And I look over, and it's like old white dude. It's just there, like this half split position. It's like his leg just like kind of stuck there, and I'm like, oh, this digging in tore his ACL, man. Here we go. So of course, the medical person in me immediately interacts, and it's so weird to think about this. I was not like this before, but I immediately just go over there, like, are you okay, sir? Like immediately, like I don't even think about it, right? Which I'm like, that's definitely the medicine, medical field, becoming a part of me. And I'm like, you're right, like you good. Like I didn't laugh or anything, surprisingly. Knowing me, I was shocked I didn't laugh. But anyway, I was really concerned about it though, because I was like, yeah, old people, that's how you get hurt for real. So He like stepped on, like one of those big like cart things. I don't know how to explain it. Like those things that like they stack things in, but it's like this like a one big like container thing. Like one big square thing, but they like stack stuff in it. Like they'll stack a bunch of boxes and they'll put another container thing on top of it and then stack boxes on top of that thing, right?
Mm.
So apparently that was laying on the floor. Apparently. In the middle of this, like, not super big, like alleyway, because I mean it's Aldi, nothing, it's not, they don't keep it so big because they're, it's how they keep it cheap, whatever. And it's just like, I guess he didn't see it. But I'm like, this is a really big thing to not see, to be honest. But again, I'm like, he's old. Maybe the vision's going. Maybe he's, in a hurry. We just, didn't, I don't know. But I thought that man tore his ACL. So I was about to give that man a full free exam. But he was good. He said he was good. And there's like spilled milk everywhere and everything. I was like, man, are you sure you're okay, dude? He's like, yeah, that daggone thing just left in the middle of the flow. I was like, yeah, they shouldn't do that, man. They got to pick that stuff up. In my head, I was like, dude, you didn't see that thing? It's huge. But okay, whatever. I was glad he didn't tear nothing. I was like, all right. Glad you're okay, old guy.
He trying to get
I
that.
know you feel a little bit embarrassed.
He trying to get that
Right.
money.
Right.
He was like, "Dang, I ain't hit it hard enough."
Now somebody saw me, so I can't use this excuse.
Right.
Yeah, but that was crazy. Anyway, glad he's okay. Glad you're okay, old guy. Don't know what your name is, but I don't want to see you in the hospital. Don't you come visit me there. Anyway. Getting back to social media, speaking of social media, again, a lot of people kind of segue into our topic. Like a lot of people on social media, and I think maybe this is why I kind of shocked myself so much by going over there as quick as I did. Is like a lot of people, they're gonna just record that, or like they'll pull the phone out first, then go try and help or whatever, and then like, oh, we got this funny soundbite or whatever, which is, I'm not gonna feel like I haven't laughed at these things, that people have recorded. So yeah, but at the same time, always, I think it's always just a good habit to make sure people are okay. I try to make sure people are okay before I laugh, at least, not seriously injured, at least, like, but I just think, yeah, that's, I don't know, it's part of our, I hate to say the new normal, but like people are much quicker to pull out their phones to record than they are to call for help or actually offer help, which is kind of one thing I think is social media is definitely created, in our current society, because people want, everyone's kind of has that in their head, like, oh, I could maybe get a little bit of social fame off this, or even get a couple bucks because of royalties or whatever, get a couple bucks off of this, or even get a TV spot on whatever morning talk show, whatever, something like that, like, they think about all this stuff, or even if it's like subconscious, is like, oh, I could record this and then I could use this for whatever purpose, and then it might help my page blow up or whatever else, or help me sell my products I'm already advertising. And I feel like it kind of takes away from the human aspect of people sometimes. It's like, I mean, even if you record and help, that still is better. But generally it's like, oh, we're just going to record, we're just going to record. We're not going to actually help, which again, sometimes recording is helping in certain situations, police brutality, all certain stuff does help. But a lot of times it's like people just become, bystanders where they could be active participants in making a situation better or actually helping someone out, which I really, really do hate that, but I get it to an extent too.
Has there been a situation where you've recorded as a bystander? Like, has there ever been for either?
Like something where I could actually help?
Yeah.
I don't think something I could actually help. But like that one time we saw that car on fire.
Oh yeah.
I did record that. That was crazy. But I was not. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not a fireman. I hope that I prayed they got out that fire safely.
Yeah.
Hope those policemen or firemen or whoever's at the scene helped them out. But I was not jumping into an actively engulfed in flamed car. I was like going in there. I'll tell you that now. Unless it's a family member or someone I know is for sure in there. I need to say,
I think we called the police or some that may have been
I think the police were
another
there.
memory oh, okay.
No, police were there. Police were there, but yeah.
So I remember
But it was
one
actually
day
on fire.
Taylor and I were going down the highway and we saw a car on fire again. And yeah, and we were like, what do we do? So we called the police, and the police were all there like, yeah, we know. Like, we're on our way. Leave us alone.
Stop being nervous.
Yeah.
Scared yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
What
yeah.
about you, Alonzo?
Well, I tend to not record much of anything just because I'm a large black man. I don't want people thinking, "Why are you recording this?" I will say there was an incident like back in middle school. One of the teachers tried to pull down on the projector, and the projector fell off the wall and hit her on the head. And the first thing I did was immediately laugh. But luckily, that was like back in '07. So phones weren't a thing, cameras weren't a thing, so we couldn't record it. But that definitely would have been something I would have recorded and not helped out. I didn't like
Oh
the
my
teacher.
God.
Miss Elijah was her name.
Yeah.
But I think I was the only one who busted out laughing. I kind of felt bad afterwards. She was in bad shape afterwards. So
She probably was fine. But like
a mild concussion, just a mild one.
We were all looking at that thing too, though. And like while she was pulling it, it was wild. I was like,
y'all
we were looking at like,
that lady.
you ain't gonna keep pulling that. Like we just thought she was gonna look at it and be like, all right, I cut my losses. This shit ain't coming down. Dude. Yeah.
We did have term rates at that school.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Right? She should get some compensation, right?
Definitely. I mean, 100%. If this is today, let that happen to me at work, man. I am done for the year, bro.
That's why she kept pulling on it. She's trying to get that money. She said, "Yeah, look, this motherfucker come down on there."
I'm gonna have a whole year off with pay. I'm good. Like, yeah, no, I definitely feel that. Like, yeah, I think no. Typically, I'm just not super quick to record. Like, I feel weird about recording personally still. Like, yeah, I don't know if it's being black in America sort of thing, or if it's just like a not in my genes sort of thing. Like, I like photography as like a hobby. I love photography, but like, even with that, I'm like, if I ever take pictures that involve other people, I want to ask them, like, is this okay? Are you cool with me having this picture? Like, it's weird, like I want to take it because the artistic side of me is like, oh, it's like a really good picture. I need to just take it, and then I'll typically have to ask people whatever. But like, no one's ever like had an issue or anything because they know it's not like a weird thing, but like it's not so far. But I usually don't take pictures of people I don't know in the first place. But but anyway, but yeah. So I think I see the appeal in it. I see why people do it, especially because like some of that stuff is like cool memory sort of thing too. To like look back on, like, oh, we went through this thing or we saw this thing. Remember we saw this thing? Like, oh, I don't remember that. And you got the video. Like, oh yeah, that's crazy. And you can kind of like reminisce on it, stuff like that. So I do get like that part of it too. But then it's like for me, it's like again, I don't know if this is because like me being a healthcare person now, it's like it's more my nature to like want to just help and like make sure things are okay first. But like, I mean, even that can come back to bite you sometimes too, to be honest. But I do get like, yeah, I feel like now for me, like I'm quicker, like stuff that's happened around me, like I've seen people faint in front of me, all the other stuff. And like, I can kind of see them going, like they're kind of losing in and out. And like a lot of people, again, like other people may have recorded this time. I don't know. Maybe other people did record them while these were happening. But I would I would go over them typically. And generally, the thing's happened like 3 times now since I would have been in medicine that long, but like 3 times already out in just public, festivals and weddings and stuff like that. People just fainting. And it was like, what the freak? So I'm always the one that's on the scene. I'm like, all right, let me check out this person. But you can always see it coming. But yeah, typically not my speed, but I don't know. Like, I think it takes away from the moment sometimes. People want to get too much recorded, too much. Again, I love photography, but sometimes too much photography, too much recording, like, and less enjoying the moment. And again, I think social media just brought so much of that. Is like, to enjoy the moment, I have to share the moment and prove I had the moment to other people that I don't even know sometimes. And it's like, but you can also just enjoy the moment with the people that are there, or even if it's just you. And that's kind of getting lost, I think, now, that part of it.
Yeah, Yeah, like I wanted to talk about two things. One, Daniel the Millionaire is an example where I mean, there's the situations where you need to record. All right,
Yeah.
it's like no
No
one
one will
else
believe you.
is gonna believe you. I was about to say that. No one else is gonna believe what you're going through, and you need to record this. And also, like, I mean, you know, some good evidence for a person who is, kind of shitty too, right? It's like, all right,
Facts.
look, I don't need, to do all these, cancel things on Twitter and make my tweet longers and stuff. It's like, look, I have a recording. This is what he said. he's obviously
Right.
not great.
Keep it simple.
But then getting to, like, back to, like, yeah, living in the moment, like, yeah, and I find that has been more and more recently, where you'll see people just like, without even thinking grabbing their phone and being lost in the sea that is social media. And it's weird. It's really weird in certain situations too, where it's just like you're not even in control anymore. Like,
Right.
to some extent, where it's like, I'm like, I'm riding in the car with my mom, and, like, she's on her phone, and it's just like, I mean, okay, I get that I have to do something, and we don't need to engage, but it's also like, it's like, would be a great time to talk.
Right. That
It's
part.
like, it would be great if you weren't stuck in this passive, decisions that you guys are, gone in. I don't know. You felt this too, Alonzo, I assume.
Well, I don't talk with people much, but when I do, I try to make the effort to be in the moment,
Mm.
not be on my phone. But when I'm out and about in public, man, I am on Reddit 24/7, 365. Always stay on my mind. I am just checked out from the world. That is my escape.
Mm.
Looking at viral videos, viral pictures that other people have posted. Like you said, recording stuff, not being in the moment, so they can get those likes, those upvotes that don't really mean anything, but it makes them feel good. It releases those brain chemicals
Mm.
that serotonin and dopamine get that good hit. You know what I'm saying?
Good. Facts.
But yeah, for me, I just it's like a impulse control for when I could
Mm.
go on Reddit. Like I lack the impulse. Like I try to control it when I'm with other people, try to stay in the moment. But if I get that opportunity where I can just go on my phone and be out of there, I will. I will take it first jump.
Mm.
No issue at all.
Ooh, talk science to me, Lonzo.
You the man. I don't know nothing about them chemicals.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on them, though. You're right on them. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think to an extent it is. No one's going to pretend that I have never. I don't think any of us is going to pretend we've never used our phone as like an escape out of awkwardness. 100%. That is maybe the best thing about phones for me is to escape awkwardness at times, and also be productive in moments where it is like just like, why am I here anyway? Well, I can
Right.
send some emails, or I can get contacts of people, or whatever, or even get my grocery list together, something, do something else that's can make my life a little bit simpler. And so like that's the benefit of it all. But yeah, I think again, I think yeah, it is tough. It is tough, and it's kind of like impulse control because for sure, like there's times when I like, especially when I was like was a much bigger social media person, like I would like be on a lot more. Like I would open up my laptop and I would pull up like Facebook or Twitter, like just as like just a normal thing. Like okay, I'm opening my laptop, so by proxy, I am opening up
Mm-hmm.
Facebook or Twitter. Like that is what it means to open my laptop, and then I'm like, what? I don't need to do this, X. Like, what the freak? And it's literally crazy. Like you said, it becomes almost an impulse, and that is kind of scary for me. For me, it's kind of scary because, like, what is the point in living a life that is like it's not even your life at that point? Like it's not even your life. Like you're just making you're allowing other things to dictate your life more than you are dictating your life. And like that's what makes me the most weary of social media is now you're letting all these other external influences dictate your life rather than you and what necessarily you yourself really want or care about. You're letting other people dictate what you want and care about. And people that you don't even know or really even don't even care that you exist really outside of you being a number on their page, a like on their page or a friend add on their page or a follower on their page. That's all they really care about. They don't actually care about you and your well-being. So but yet you're so invested in their opinions of what you are doing, what you are saying, how you're feeling, that it literally dictates your whole life from the shadows without you even knowing or realizing it. And that's like the scariest part of social media for me, that people don't even realize how much of their life is being built around it. And it just is.
This is exactly what I was talking about when we were talking about your preferences and the singularity that is, if you only post things that are to get people.
Gotta get my charger.
This man is never ready.
I'm not professional.
Got nothing planned. But if
change the locations.
If the whole point is for you to post things to get people to feel a certain way and react a certain way, and you constantly keep doing this, you become this same person that everyone else is trying to do the same thing, right? So you get these carbon copies of like all these people, and that's why I think is the singularity that we're getting to, where it's like, all right, everyone's trying to do the exact same thing, right? Everyone's these prank like things, these whatever else fucking is on social media nowadays. I don't know. I'm not in there.
Fitness videos.
Yeah. Like
food videos.
All these food things.
Food critics.
And it's just like, all right, well,
memes.
Everyone's doing that. And then it gets to a point where it's like, all right, well, you all like the same things, right? Like everyone does the exact same thing. Like how I know exactly who you are because you are exactly like everyone else. It's so boring. Like,
Adventures.
I don't know. That's me. It's like truly one of the scariest things about social media is where we're going with that. But
right.
I don't know.
You lose your individuality.
Yeah.
You don't even have that anymore.
And I was having a conversation with Alonzo before we even got up here, and I was talking about posting something to Facebook, and I was like, and generally I'm at the current moment not going through the greatest times of my life, and I wanted to post about it and be like, oh, let me be open and honest with what's happening, but also add a bit of hope to that or whatever, and then it made me feel like, okay, well, like I started thinking about like why am I posting that, like. Is it is it because I want the likes? Is that what I want? Or is it something else, right? It's like, oh, do I want someone to feel this particular way that I want them to feel? And in my case, it was like I want them to feel hopeful. That's the point. But majority of what I wanted to convey was not hopeful. So now I was like, all right, well, I can't really post that because 99% of it is like, I'm having hard times. And then like the last 1% is like, but there's some hope. It was like, well, no one's going to finish the whole thing and everyone's going to feel like shit after reading it. So it's like, yeah, and that's why usually the main thing I post on social media is just like jokes or like poems, like uplifting, stuff. And I'm like, yeah, because to me, that's what it's for. Right. Like, in some degree. But Alonzo, I mean, even you can talk about. I mean, let me know your thoughts on where we're going with the singularity, but also talk about your experience with social media. Because
with singularity, I've seen memes on Reddit, of course, where it's like the single picture with the same caption for different users over and over and over and over again. Everybody's going down that same path. Everybody's single-minded objective on what they want. It's not really much individuality, I guess. You see course, there's a lot of reposts on Reddit, so you see people, they think there's something deep, like on shower thoughts. They think they discover something unique and wonderful when it really, no, somebody already came up with that. You do better, you know. So it's just not good. And in my experience with social media, like before I got on Reddit, I was on Facebook a lot, and I was not going to the best of times either. So I used to just post whatever I felt just to get it off my chest. It wasn't necessarily for views or likes or to make anybody empathize with me or sympathize with me, but just to get it off my chest, put it out there. And I realized that wasn't good for my mental health just to do that. And you need to talk to professionals. So that's what I started doing. So I kind of scrubbed clean my Facebook page and started posting comics, make people laugh. So, like I made comics myself and post them up there, post them on Reddit, post them on Instagram, trying to make people laugh. So I did that for likes and views, but nothing too extreme. Now I'm just in the mindset of, why am I even doing this? There's no point in it, to this. Like, now I just use Facebook and Instagram to like post semi regular life updates or anything that's important. Like my finishing grad school, I posted that up there, and I got a good number of likes. That released the dopamine. I was like, yes. No, but I did do that, so people were congratulating me, so that felt good. But I'm not gonna seek out those hits on social media. I will just say I'm a Reddit junkie, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure, and I talked to you guys about this before. Like when I was in high school and transitioning to college, I was heavy on Twitter. I was super like I was like I'm a time. I would write down posts, and I like I'm gonna post this later in the day when I know more people can be on social, like 5 or 6. I know they can be on social media. I'm not gonna post it right now, middle of the day, or whatever. And like I'll be strategic and all this stuff, and I'd be like really like seeking out, the most likes, like and I don't know, and I think kind of like what you said, Alonzo. Like, I think some people need to realize some of the stuff is rooted in like we got stuff going on in our mental that we're trying to like sort through and work through, and we're not talking to the right people. We're talking to random people on the internet instead of professionals, like or even like at least like a real confidant or a real friend. Like, don't just talk to these randos on the internet that have no clue about who you are as a person, and don't really care, to be honest, a lot of times. And I'm just like, yeah, like I just like when I just ended up deleting all that. I just deleted my whole Twitter and all that stuff, and just barely even posted anything, I think, in college at all, like on any other social media. And I didn't just made like an Instagram, whatever, just because like people were sending me Instagram videos. I couldn't watch them anywhere else. So like, you have to have an Instagram and watch the video. So I made like, okay, whatever. I'll make an Instagram so I can watch the video people send me. But but like, yeah, but like I felt like I was like, why am I doing this? Like, kind of saying along, like, why am I'm doing this just for invisible people to like my stuff and to make me feel good that I'm like appreciated and seen on like this virtual platform. Like, but what does that really do for me in my future and my own psyche and my own like goals and dreams in my life? It does nothing. It really does nothing. And I'm just like, and I was like, this is really just a waste of time. That's why I just ended up wiping the whole thing before I went to college, and just like, I'm very glad that I did it to an extent. I do kind of wish I kind of kept the platform to kind of spread more genuine, authentic, positive things, and then also to for stuff like our podcast and stuff like that, it might have been a good platform. I had a lot of followers up there. It would have been a lot easier process.
Shame.
But I think it would have been good. Some of the people I was keeping up with, I did have like some pretty good acquaintances and people that I think I would call friends up there. That I kind of wish I kept up with a little bit, because I didn't keep up with them on anything else. I was like, now I just don't know where they are. They're just somewhere out there in the world, And I was like, okay, maybe I should have, like gave some sort of warning, just deleting it one day out of nowhere. But anyway, but yeah. But I do agree with that you definitely get caught up in just trying to get like I don't know, the dopamine and serotonin returns of the likes and stuff like that. And it's affirmation too. I think everyone wants to feel like seen and heard, and like they are important. And I think that's what the internet makes people feel like. It makes a lot of people feel important. And sometimes people that, I'm not saying everyone's important in their own right, but like you are important, but your opinion is not necessarily always important
Right.
on certain topics. I'm sorry, like if you are not a person that is well versed on, let's say, government politics and things like that, your opinion, no offense, doesn't hold a lot of weight in things that talk about if you know nothing about, a certain sports team or a certain sports figure or a certain sport, why are you weighing in on that sport? You don't know anything about it. Like that's just a non-valuable opinion. You're just there to like, and I guess is what people call being a troll. You're literally just there just to like be fed attention, basically, like just to be fed attention. And it's like, that is the kind of frustrating part, because social media can be amazing. It can be amazing. It can be an amazing place to connect, to find like-minded people, to share ideas, to get new ideas, but to share ideas, not to have them just get stolen, not to just have them copy and pasted, but to inspire you to do other things, or to do things that you really like, or even to, maybe you've seen someone cooking all the time, saying, oh, baby, I really want to get into cooking now. Or you see somebody working out, oh, I really want to get into working out, I don't know how to start it. Let's see how they do it. That's great. That's wonderful. That's awesome. And even if it's any other sort of like hobby or thing that you're interested in, that's great. But like, it so often ends up being like just a trap for people to get affirmation, confirmation within. That's the kind of stuff you need to be looking for in yourself first off, which I think is not said enough, is that people need to be looking for these things in themselves. And they're looking for it all out in everywhere else, all in the ether, all in, all the crevices of the internet. And it's like, I mean, yeah, you'll find something there, but it's not necessarily the thing that you need to really, really, really get the confirmation that you need for yourself, and the affirmation you need for yourself and what you're doing in your life. Maybe it is. Sometimes maybe it is. But I think that's a dangerous thing to fall into when you're letting strangers dictate how you feel about yourself and what you're doing in your life. Because one bad comment, we've seen it, and we've all seen it on TV, on the internet, blah, blah. We've seen all sorts of stories about it. I'm sure we even know people about it. One bad comment could just ruin someone's whole day, or even, make them do things that ruin their whole life, So I just think it's a dangerous precedent with social media sometimes, and the power people give it.
I agree, and I was about to ask you, and I feel like you'll likely say something similar to that in that regard. Where like, what do you think is like one of the worst things about social media right now? And I mean, I could start it off because I'm thinking about it a little bit, but I mean, back to what we're saying. Individuality definitely is part of the thing that I don't like. But my major thing is that like people have impact, but do not think they do, right? And that's the thing that really, to me, is what I hate about social media. It's like it's like, because you posted something to social media, my mom will read it and think it's fact. And
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
you're ruining those people, and you know that, you have impact, and you do it anyway, and and now it creates things like the flat earthers or whatever the fuck, and I'm like, and you know what I mean, like,
Yeah,
it although it is a platform that can be used for good, Facebook especially is a one that is like super dedicated to hate, and I'm like,
yeah.
and they use that platform for that reason, and I'm like, all right, let's just give it up. Look, Facebook gone. Like, if Facebook was gone, I'd be okay.
Facebook gone.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, that one's all hate.
That
Let's
is
get rid
just
of
funny.
it. I mean, All right, what well, Alonzo, what is your what if you had to name one thing that's like you hate about social media?
Oh, like you said, the hate speech, like what you brought up about Facebook, reminded me of 4chan and 8chan and all those other, you know, far out there conspiracy sites that are just terrible, like that inspire people to do bad things. I think like the Buffalo shooter was inspired by those things, and he went on Twitch, another social media platform, to live stream his actions, which was terrible. And I think like there was another shooter in New Zealand who also live streamed his events. Um, it's just not good. All the hate speech that can get incubated in these small circles in these platforms, and nobody is really doing anything about it. Um, I know a couple of years back there was an investigation in Facebook for causing a genocide. I think Myanmar was the country it was caused in, and they didn't do anything about it. It's just the things about social media not good. That are good is it brings people together, but also bad it brings people together, like-minded people who
Right.
shouldn't be together.
Mm.
Like amplifies KKK, like they can reach more people. Amplifies neo Nazis, they can reach more people. They can do whatever they want online. People have this tendency to think that they have full impunity while they're online. Like they can just sit behind a screen, say whatever they want, and be like, "Hey, I'm good. Nobody's going to come after me," and that emboldens them to reach out to more people, spread their ideals, which aren't good, and it just leads to more tragic chaos and loss that shouldn't need to happen.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel about social media.
Yeah. I mean, that is a fantastic point. Fantastic point, honestly. And I hate it because like people just start equating social media, which is, I think we can all say is not real. Social media is not real.
Mm.
It's not real. You know, they make that into their real life. Like, yeah, maybe it's your job for a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people. For a good amount of people now, it is becoming their job. Fine, whatever. You're a chef on social media, or you're a fitness instructor on social media, or you're a person that sells your stuff through social media, or you're a person that does hair, barber through social media, whatever. I get it. That's fine. I understand that. But again, everyone knows ads and those sorts of things. Those aren't real. Like, the burgers you see, on McDonald's ads are not real burgers. We know these things, like the fries you see, they're not the same, all these sorts of things. The cereal you see on TV, that's not, everyone knows this stuff, like, at least a lot of people know these things. We know this stuff isn't real. But then for some reason, like Robert was saying, and like you guys are saying, like they get online and they think that, okay, this is equivalent to real life now. Like I see this on social media, so this is fact. No, that's not the case. Or I can say this on social media, so I can say this in real life, or I can do this in real life. No, you actually can't. Like, and you probably wouldn't, and you probably never would even thought you could, outside of this setting. And that's my thing is like, and like you said, Lonzo, it is great that it can bring people together. And like I said, it gives opportunity for innovation, for community, for people, especially for people that need those sorts of things, like people that lost inspiration, losing hope, need community, need some sort of sense they're isolated, and they just feel like, oh, I'm totally out here on my own, and like, okay, you find some sort of community that gives you like solace, that gives you sort of feeling of, okay, like I'm not by myself on this big blue planet. I get it. That's great, and that is literally one of the greatest things about social media. It can give you all these things, and it can help you, keep track, reconnect, and connect with new people. It's fantastic. That is the best part about it. The best part about it is having that opportunity. But because of the way human nature works, we of course take things that are great and we make them into bad things. It's just what we do as humans. And that is unfortunately what it's become, is that now people are like, oh, well, this person, like, okay, comparison is a thief of all joy. We know this, but they love to do that on social media, to flex on social media. I had to tell people all the time, when I was a teacher, when I was still a student, and I would talk to other students, like tell me, oh, we're working so hard, and my friend is out here, on vacation. I'm like, that's a social media flex, dude. That's not real life.
Right.
That's a 15-second clip. They could turn that ish off right now, open with the bank account. That ish could say $5.99. And you don't know, like you don't know. Like but yet we are so fixated on comparing ourselves to what we see on social media, what's acceptable on social media, what people say and do. the Andrew Tates of the world, the social media fitness influencers. All these people have these fitness influencers. Some of them are having body augmentation surgeries. They're getting BBLs. They're getting sculpted abs. All this lipos, like all this sort of stuff. Like, yeah, dude. Like, okay, it's them on steroids. I'm not saying all of them. There's plenty of them that are natural. They're doing stuff the right way. Fine, I understand that 100%. I know, but like, we're comparing ourselves to people that we do not know. We do not know. All we know them is by 5-minute or less clips, because the clips are getting shorter and shorter, like our attention spans, shorter and shorter. And so we know them by these super short clips, and we think we know who they are as a person, and we think we know their lives. I can be anyone for a minute. I can pretend to be anyone for a minute. I tell you right now, like, and any majority of people on the planet can pretend to be someone else for at least a short period of time. Like, and I thought people get caught up in some of these relationships. That's a whole other topic. But but you can pretend to be whoever you want to on these sort of platforms. And some people take full advantage of that, And some people, go out of their way to try and, get these people exposed. And some people go out of their way to expose people that aren't fake, which is another issue. But again, it all comes with social media. But again, it's like all comes from the fact that, are you doing something that you would do if this is real life? That's what I always ask myself when I'm posting on social media, saying stuff. Is this really me? Is this really me? What I'm posting? Is this really me? What I'm saying? Is this really me? What I'm doing? And if the answer is not yes, then probably shouldn't say it, post it, or do it. But again, how many people even know who they are, because it gets so jumbled up in who they think they might be based on these personas they make for themselves, not even just in social media, but in real life. But it gets amplified on social media, and the acceptance of these personas by social media. And that, again, is super, super dangerous when you're being almost goaded into becoming someone you're not, or reinforcing, like you were saying, Alonzo, reinforcing some of those ideals that shouldn't be reinforced, but they're doing it anyway, and that's like the thing that I hate is, like, again, we took something that could be so freaking great, and it's time, it still is great. There are some great communities in social media, super healthy communities, super supportive communities. But gosh, we know how to ruin something as humans.
Like, one of the things I wanted to kind of flip on now is, like, let's say you're Alonzo, and you're thinking critically all day at work, right? And you come home, and you go on social media, and I think in normal situations you want to not be thinking critically in that situation, right? And that's the problem. Is, like, now it's almost like we have to rethink everything that is posted. Oh, is this an ad, or this isn't real, or this is, and I'm like, I know some of that is probably, like, dramatized a little bit, because, like, we don't have to, let's say it's a completely fabricated video. We don't have to think that it's real for it to not still be good, right? That's right. The kind of thing. It's like, oh, they did a prank. Oh, but that really wasn't a prank. I mean, they knew, they were all in on it. But
right, off of the stage, right?
Right, but does that detract from the comedy? No, right? But still, you do feel kind of robbed, right? When you're just like, well, this is not real. And I think definitely when it comes to people with their ideals, and they're just like, oh, well, he's posting something up there, and this is him thinking honestly and critically, and I should accept it, and I'm not going to do the hard work, because that would added stress to my life. No. I believe what he believes, right? But I'm like, yeah, I would love for social media to be an outlet, like you're saying, needs to be an outlet. I want to. After work, I have added stress, and I want to come here to de-stress, right? But, like, would it still be de-stressing if, like, I have to think critically about every, not every, but, like, so many posts that get posted, and I'm like, man, like, that to me is like the kind of like the catch-22 for social media. It's like, oh, we want them to come together. We want us all to be thinking, sharing our thoughts and stuff. But then Like, as soon as we do, well, now we need to rethink them. You gotta make sure that
Right.
we're not being assholes. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. And I think, yeah, cancel culture does. I think it still happens, right? Like people want to cancel people,
Mm.
but it doesn't work as well anymore. I think it gets people are more like, okay, like I think there's more people waiting to hear the facts now than it used to be. From what I'm seeing at least. Like what's his name? Jonathan Majors thing that just happened recently. I think there's more people sat on the fence and were like, okay, let's wait till all the facts come out. Instead of just immediately, there were people 100% just jumped on this man, canceled immediately, right? But I think there was a lot more patience with it. And obviously we came to find out that it was basically BS. But like, yeah, like I think that now, thankfully, like at least because of how prominent it was for a period, that cancel culture is like getting kind of watered down a little bit. People are like, okay, let's calm down.
Well,
But
there
but
was recently on Reddit, Bike Karen. There was this nurse, white nurse, female nurse, and apparently she had a dispute with some black guys about a bike she purchased. People were calling her out because she appeared to start fake crying, and she did start fake crying in the video, calling out for help and all that stuff. And so they instantly counseled her. But it comes out that she had the receipt for the bike, so it was actually the other guys trying to steal her bike. So she got suspended from her job because of this, even though she didn't do anything wrong, and she's 6 months pregnant. So people are just like, "Oh damn, we kind of fucked up on this one." Like, so cancel
maybe
culture
not.
is still a thing, but I don't know.
Still going strong. Yeah, here we
Still
go.
going strong. Like
I
people are quick to jump on anything
Oh, yeah.
instead of learning the facts.
The
Yeah.
American way.
I
But
mean, facts.
I think yeah, the outreaching, right? The it used to definitely be like, we can cancel this guy, he's a rapist. We can cancel this guy, he's he's direct um you know racist or whatever. And like,
Right.
okay, well, if we do that, that makes sense. But then it starts getting to like, or this guy's like, he's angry sometimes. It's like, well, this guy, he looked at me wrong one day. It's like, now it's starting to get so broad that I think it's just
Right.
like what, like what they tried to do to him that you were talking about is kind of like just generally people saying like, he was just he wasn't nice to me. Like, I'm like, okay, but is that cancelable?
Right.
It's like, yeah, we want good people, we want nice people in the world, right? But to say that because you're not nice to certain people, you get canceled, would cancel most people.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, I mean, come on, we can't be drawing hard lines like that. I do not like it.
Yeah. I mean, I think okay, 100%, Lonzo. People are definitely still very quick to jump. Like that's a fact. I don't think that's gonna. I think that'll never change. People are quick to jump before social media. I mean, this is far precedes all this. But I do think at least there's more people willing to present the facts more readily when they do come. Is what I mean. Like people who used to just be like, okay, this happens, case closed. We don't care about the rest of the facts, and it would never get brought up until like you'd have to look for it. Now it's kind of like it's more brought out, which I think again maybe they're bringing it out because they want to become like online social fighters and they want things to be that's something they're passionate about, which is great. Maybe it's because they want the likes, which again, if it brings facts to the forefront, then I'm okay with it. Facts are important. It's important to bring actual factual information to social media. So if that gets you likes, more power to you. Bring facts to social media. But like like I said, I think at least there's that much. Because I feel like when I was at least when this kind of all started, this big cancel culture started, which has always been there, but became more of a thing that people just totally ignored facts. Just totally ignored facts. It was all, like Robert said, all off of just how I feel. And I'm like, how you feel does not dictate the world. I'm sorry. Like, and I think that's again, social media tries to give power to people that don't need to be in power. I'm sorry, like like you can't handle the power sort of thing,
Mhm.
like the Peter Parker thing. Great power comes great responsibility. And most people that may or may not have this power on social media, like Robert was saying, to dictate what our grandmas think and our moms think, like they don't have they're not responsible enough with the power to really use it well, and that's like the scary thing about it is like, well, I've said that a lot, but that's another scary thing about it, like, is that there's all these people with this kind of power, on social media of influence. They're called influencers. They have the power to influence other people, and there a lot of I can't want to say a lot, but there's too much of it that is a negative influence instead of a positive influence. Like, oh, I'm an influencer, but I'm pretty much just flexing my lifestyle, which never explain how I actually fund this lifestyle, which maybe like sugar daddy or my mom and dad's money, or maybe I'm scamming. I mean, there's people that live and found out for just scamming people, like they're just scamming. That's how they're
Mhm.
funding this lifestyle and stuff like that. And like you end up getting like I've seen all these like documentaries and like reports and stuff like that on people that are like living these lavish lifestyles, and they basically got themselves caught because they were showing off their lifestyles, and then like the government's like, how the freak is he making his money?
Mhm.
Because his taxes don't say don't say that. They investigate you and they get caught. And so again, maybe not smartest thing. Again, people that have power, have influence, not the brightest. Again, so maybe they shouldn't be the ones we're listening to. And I think it's always something I always tell people, like when they listen to like, you know, it's a Dave Chappelle joke about listening to Ja Rule about the news,
Mhm.
right? It's like
Where
again,
is
this is
Ja? Where is
where is
Ja?
Ja? and like and like, but again, it's true. Like, why are you taking news from someone that is not a news person? This
Mhm.
is not his occupation. It's not what he does. You know, I'm not going to go and learn science from Little Wayne. Like, I'm not going to look to him to teach me
Right.
science. Like, I'm not going to go to Kim Kardashian for like for life advice. I'm
Period.
sorry.
That's funny.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's people that are specializing in these things for a reason, because certain things take a certain skill set or a certain education level, and they have worked at this, right? So take their advice for it. Take their thoughts on it. Get other people in that field's thoughts on it. But don't go to someone that's just a musical artist to get all your information from the news, for politics, for current events, all that. Like, your opinion should be your opinions. Your feelings should be your feelings. Don't sit there and take everyone else's as yours. Like, think about it for yourself. That's all I want. I want the individuality to return back to social media, because that's what makes it great. Is that, okay, when you find someone that's, oh, you're into anime, you're into fitness, you're into like, whatever street style, whatever, clothing, and or whatever else, things that you're really into. You're into baking, you're into whatever else. Like, it's a real connection, and you guys can actually like vibe out and connect and like talk about it and geek out on things that you really like, instead of being like, oh yeah, this person's like, they're a cosplayer on the internet, but they don't actually watch anime. Like, I don't actually like anime. I just like the followers that I get from these anime
Mhm.
people. Like, yeah, like, and that again, that takes away from the genuine connection that I feel like was the point of social media, is allow you to have these broad range of genuine connections without having to be like right next to them or in the city next to them, or have to run into them down the street or whatever, or to strike up a random conversation. It gives you something to talk about already, because oh, we both have this thing in common. We both post this thing on our profile. And then it's like, okay, we can establish some sort of connection, whether that's, a romantic thing, maybe not, but always just like something that's just like, oh, again, I feel like there's someone that shares, common interests and things that I like. So I feel like I can kind of belong somewhere, or belong with a certain group, or belong with a certain person, or around a certain person. Or I feel like I'm not just out here just roaming the planet by myself. And I think that's the greatness of social media. And I want that to be highlighted more. And I feel like people get back into this thing of just like Alonzo was saying, like, okay, I'm posting the same meme 100 times because I know they got likes on this person, but maybe this group of people haven't seen it yet. So if I post it, I'll get a bunch of likes, if not as much as this person, but I'll still get a bunch. It's like, okay, that's great, but do you even know what that meme means, or do you even care about this meme? Like, is this even funny to you? Is it even funny to you? Like, And that is just like the most frustrating thing to me is like, be you still. Like if you happens to be like some of these other things, fine, like that's great. But like still be you. Don't become just a social media being, a popular figure on social media, like, or what you think is popular, like in social media, and absorb just that into you in your life. Become who you are, and let social media just share that with more people, so that you can make those kind of nice connections. That's what I want for people on social media. So for all of us.
I'll say this. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think, yeah, like you said, the internet. I think what you said earlier, Alonzo. That's what the internet was for, right? It's like, all right, we're you know share our ideas and stuff. Like that's great. Connection there. We want connection, but yeah, people just use it for the wrong reasons. I would say this though, right? Do you think that any um that social media needs like limitations, right? Like, do we have to limit speech for it to be good, right? And this is what I am like, kind of what happened with Twitter, right? It's like Elon Musk buys Twitter. He's like, you're limiting it too much. I can't say what I want to say, and I think like there was probably a reason, right? Like if you're saying some dumb shit, like yeah, no, you don't get to say that. Like you have power, you have influence. Nope. If you're gonna be directly dumb, then don't, right? But to also say that, should we, like you're saying, we should be thinking critically here too, and should we be getting news? Should we be getting anything from this guy? No, probably not, right? Like Elon Musk run your world? No, probably not, right? Like I'm just saying, like I mean, Alonso, let me get your thoughts here. So I'm saying, do we need um do we have to limit speech for there to be a free social media?
Do we have to limit speech? So I will say, back in high school, I said some out of pocket stuff about me being a dictator one day, and the United States needs a dictator to limit free speech. Because people be saying stuff they shouldn't be saying. I was like, let me be that dictator and let me control what people say. Oh, that was young Alonzo. I was young and stupid back then.
I'd
But
vote for it.
you wouldn't have a choice. There ain't no vote.
Leadership.
I mean, yeah, there definitely, I feel, should be some limitations. Like, if people are coming out the woodwork starting saying the N word when Elon took over, obviously that's a problem. People spewing hate speech, this avowing like the Holocaust, troubles of different races, spewing all sorts of hate speech, inciting violence. Um, Obviously, there's no need for that. That's not what the founding fathers wanted. And I hate to invoke the founding fathers, but um, they put it out there, so we got to live with it. But it's kind of a touchy subject for most of the country, because people are like, my rights, my freedoms. I fought for this. You can't hold me back.
Right.
I'll say whatever I want, N-word. And of course they'll say the hard R, and it's like, you can't say that. I mean, people on Fox News earlier this week saying that the word Karen is a slur for white women, and it was comparable to the N-word, and they said N-word instead of the actual N-word. It's like, if you can't say that word, that word is objectively worse. So what your argument is null and void. But I feel like there should be some limitations to free speech. That won't make it true free speech, but still, you have a voice to say stuff that you otherwise probably would keep to yourself, but you can, put out to the masses, to an audience.
Right.
You can say something stupid. You can show people how to make crack for all I care. But
Oh
I don't
God,
know.
Yeah, it's
Tyrone
weird.
Biggums.
It's weird how like it's almost like I have to. It's like some people are like I have to hate in order to you know to be
Feel
part of social
validated.
media. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. To feel validated, I have to hate somebody. And I'm just like,
It's so
that's so
true.
wild. That's crazy. And it's like,
That's
do you
true.
see your problem? You know, like you just vocalized it. That is the problem.
Right.
You shouldn't have to do that. Like, yeah, you know, you too, Matt. Like, you also agree limits are needed. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, like hard racist stuff, like yeah, definitely needed. But I'm saying like flat earthers,
Yeah.
you know,
False information. Yeah.
right?
If false information passed on is clear fact, not not people just saying what they think. I mean, you should be definitely say your opinion on things on a
Right.
subject, but if you're passing off your opinion as fact, that's another thing. Like
Mm.
that's a whole other thing, and I think that's where it becomes dangerous. That's misinformation, and people want to say, oh, again, free. I know it's the people in their rights, their freedom of speech, but it's already limited. You can't say certain things. You can't go into like a bank and say, I'm gonna shoot
Mhm.
up the place and not
Right.
get arrested. I'm sorry, you're gonna get arrested. Like you can't do that. So it's not like this is new. Like, yeah, okay, there's certain things that you can't say. Now they're just mad because there's certain things that they want to say that they can't
Mm.
say. That's why they're mad. They don't want to go in and say that into a bank. And if they do, they know they're going to have a repercussion for it. They can actually get arrested. Now, this is something they can't technically always get arrested for. Either you can, they're starting to be a little more stringent with it now, where they are starting to get people for sexual abuse and racial abuse and really just general, just like verbal abuse online. They are starting to get people for that, like online bullying and stuff like that. They are
Mm.
starting to actually convict people of
Good.
these things, which is good, for the world. Um, but I think that now, with people saying, like, well, technically I can't say it because it's just like socially taboo more than actually like legally taboo,
Mm.
is like that's where people are getting upset. It's like, well, I don't want to be restricted on something I like to say,
Right.
especially when like, I'm going to get more. It's really just that they don't want to get judged for saying it. They don't actually care about the restriction. They care about getting judged and being seen as a bad person for saying it.
Right.
That's what they
Right.
care about. So that I'm like, oh well, too bad. That's the risk you take. Sorry, I can't say certain things. It's like you can't say certain things. And guess what? Like maybe there's one extra thing you can't say, or a few extra things you can't say because you're a different race. But there's a lot of extra things I can't do because I'm this race. So the trade-off is fair enough to me, if not very skewed in your favor still. So I'm like, I mean, I get it, like when as far as racist stuff, but even as far as like these other things that are out of balance, it's like, again, like you're focused on the few things you can't say. There's a bunch of stuff you can say and do
Mm.
that is out of bounds and very strange. If you want to just go do it weird-ish, plenty of weird-ish is legal. You can go carry a glass of water around with you everywhere you go. It's not illegal, but you're weird. You're weird as free. But if you want to just be weird and stay within legal bounds, no one can stop you. It's weird as freak, but you can do it.
TSA will stop you.
New religion.
The water hold religion. We will hold. Only glasses.
Wow.
Only glasses. But like legitimate, like if you just want to do stuff that's technically legal but socially frowned upon, you can do things that don't actually bother other people as much, if that's just what you want to do. But people just seem to like hate the fact that there's something they kind of want to do or kind of might want to do at some point or say at some point and they can't do it. And I'm like, okay, that's a very childish way to be as like, an adult. Typically most of these people are well into their, adult age years. And I'm like, okay, you should be more okay with this as an adult, but whatever.
I think the thing we're getting to is that we're like, hey, by the way, when you post this thing, you're releasing it to the internet, the whole internet. All right, whole internet can see this. So
Right.
you're not as in a pocket as you think you are. So we're not going to allow you to say whatever you want to say, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's good. The same with like anti-vaxxers and stuff, and they're just like, all right, well, you have no information about this, so it's like you're not a doctor, so sorry, but you can't post that. It's like you're not allowed to say no dumb shit, and that's good. I'm like I think that's good. I think that it's going to be healthier for the long term internet, but I think that it's going to get more and more limited, and that's where it's going to, right. It's like, oh, here's some new crazy thing, because that's what's happening, right? It's just like they'll just find a new crazy thing that is just be like, all right, now I believe this. How about that? Haha, this is new and even dumber.
Only glasses.
Right. Like, I mean,
there was was it Birds Aren't Real movement? That
yeah,
started out as a joke on Reddit. Some people started to believe it. So
yeah.
Special.
Like,
Special people.
I don't know, man. Like my uncle is a prepper and a flat earther and many number of things that are found on the internet, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to say to him. Like, how do I say that, like they fucked you. Like, they fucked you up, dude. Like, you're done. You're cooked, dude. I can't change your mind. You've been the internet done fucked you up. I'm sorry. and that's the other crazy thing, right? It's like, I mean, people on Reddit, right? It's like it's our generation. It's our generation that are making these things that are then getting influenced by these other things, right? like we're just like, ah. Like, I would love for it to be like a 90-year-old man that started this flat earther, but I'm sorry, dude, he was probably like 16, dude. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. We did it to you, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. Like, it's sad how much of the stuff starts off as a joke,
right? Right.
And it's like the person that started it did not mean they were just doing something they thought was funny,
right?
Like I'm saying, only glass. If everyone starts carrying water now, it's my fault. It's only in glasses.
I'll make a t-shirt that just has a glass of water on it. That's gonna be so good.
And again, totally not the intention. It's just meant for a joke, or just meant to be funny. Maybe even, like you said, maybe even meant to be funny within just a small group, right? And then it somehow leaks from this group and it spreads. Yeah. And you're just like, what the freak? I didn't want this, but it's now taking on its own life. You can say whatever you want to say. People won't even believe you that you started this, And so it's like, again, and if one famous person, one influencer picks it up, then there it is. It's going to multiply even more, And that is like again, super, super scary part of the internet. Like, it can just get multiplied so quick, passed around so quick, And that is crazy to me. But also, I mean, if you're doing something like that, and again, like your uncle is the doomsday prepper or a flat earther, and he's both, whatever.
Yep.
If he just keeps it to himself, and he's like, I'm gonna prep in peace. I'm gonna make my shed and my underground whatever, and buy my military meals, and I'm gonna store them underground, and I'm gonna be ready. Fine, that's not affecting anyone. If that's what you want to do it. You do you. But don't come bringing that to everybody else, like, don't come bringing everybody else at the cookout. Just try to enjoy my burger, and you'll hear talking about the end of the world next week. Don't be bringing all that negativity to me. I want to hear all that.
Like, he does. He does. I'm telling you, he will come up to you and be like, well, the dollar's about to collapse next week, man. It's going to be, that's going to be the end. I'm just letting you know. The dollar? That's going to be my end? Okay.
Convert it all to gold like you can. Okay. Convert all the gold in the military. Those are MTRs, MREs. What are they called?
Yeah, MREs.
Yeah, convert all the MREs. That's going to be the new currency. No, I mean, I mean, like I said, it would be much better if people just kept it in isolation. But it's very hard on the internet, which is, technically just a big vast plane to keep everything, in one spot is very, very difficult. And unfortunately, if it's as a joke, it can leak out.
We'll say just great thing about social media. Brings people together, but also plentiful access to titties. I just wanted to put that out there before I forgot. Especially Reddit. So
That's true. That's true. And another thing is, for safety purposes, you're dating somebody, you're about to go on a date, you can check out their little crazy beforehand. Get a little background check without having to go do the whole weird FBI thing. You're like a quick background check. And this girl into witchcraft? Is this girl vegan?
I mean, this is still how you how you get the connections from so far distance now. This is why you don't have to be dating someone that you know directly. It's like that's the only way you could date back in the day, right? It's like I know this one. I know this one, or my family knows this one, and only way. But now it's like, oh well, we can connect online. We can, and yeah, that's a good.
And it absolutely still happens. 100% still happens. People still make genuine connections, friendships, friend groups. I think, again, for us, we're in all different states right now. Well, not right now. We're two of them in different states, but at a point we were all in different states, and even the rest of our friend group, pretty much everyone else is in different states. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And it's like, we still have the ability to talk to each other, keep in regular contact, and be a part of each other's lives. And that's, again, the fantastic part about social media. And that's what it gives you, allows you to keep those connections alive, especially people that you feel like are really important to you, even if they kind of have to go and do their own life stuff, go and do their own life journey, and you guys can all kind of reconvene and come back together at everyone else's kind of convenience and that time where everyone else is, okay with it. And I think that's great. And I think that's what I love about it. That's why I don't think it needs to be wiped off the face of the earth or anything like that. It definitely needs to be maybe augmented a little bit, but I think it for sure is still something that's super, super, super beneficial for people. And I think especially, during COVID, I mean, you literally could not go out and see people. You couldn't, and I shudder to think how much worse mental health would have gotten if people literally couldn't talk to anyone outside of the limited contact on their phone during that entire 2-year period. That would have been horrifying for a lot of people.
I agree.
So, but maybe sometimes we're being a little extra about some of the stuff we're talking about. But what's not ever too extra is extra time, man.
Oh man, that was such a beautiful transition, man. Thank you so much. It is time for extra time. Starting off with some soccer news. Manchester City has won the Premier League for 2023. Congrats to them. Let's see, hockey. Hockey has its conference finals going on. I have not been paying attention to hockey at all. Apparently, the 4 teams that are in the conference finals are in places you would not expect hockey to thrive. We have the Florida Panthers against the Carolina Hurricanes. The Florida Panthers playing Miami. The Hurricanes playing Raleigh, North Carolina. Not traditional cold weather places. And then we have the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They're up on the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference Final.
Yeah. So, no Canadians in there?
No Canadians. We got Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Dry AF place. Ain't no snow touching Las Vegas. That is the end of the world. If it's no touching.
Let's see. The Preakness in dirty ass Baltimore happened today. A horse called National Treasure won. So congrats to them. Again, I don't like horse racing, but congrats to them. Sad news, Jim Brown, long considered one of pro football's top players, died recently. He played 9 seasons in the NFL, led rushing in 8 of them. He led the Browns to a title. He was part of the civil rights movement. He was an actor as well. So he had a long career, did a lot of stuff. He did have some off-the-field issues after his career. I won't get into that. we'll just remember the man as he was, as a good person. Let's see. NBA, the San Antonio Spurs won the first pick in the NBA lottery. So they will be able to pick the generational talent Victor Wembanyama from France. So
Charlotte was this close, man. We were
they
this
were that close.
Mm.
Charlotte was also second when when Shaq got picked and when
Yep.
Dwight Howard got picked.
Yep.
So Charlotte has just missed out and picked terrible players on second. I think they also missed out on Anthony Davis too. So
Yep, Anthony
yeah,
Davis.
they
We had-
just missed
had
out.
Bradley Beal had Bradley Beal sitting there second, and Michael Jordan decided to take Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Why? Why? Anyway,
Want to be like Mike? I don't know.
not that one. Not that one.
Back to basketball news. The Nuggets are up 2-0 on the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. They play again tonight, and the Heat are up 2-0 on the Boston Celtics in the
Crazy.
Eastern Conference Finals. And finally, the WNBA returned for its 27th season yesterday. The Phoenix Mercury lost to the LA Sparks, but what was big about that game was Brittany Griner returned to play after being captive in Russia. If you don't know the story, she was, I believe last year, she spent like 9 or 10 months captive in Russia in a prison colony because she got found with vape cartridges that had cannabis oil in them. And so the Russian government wanted to make an example out of her because of the Ukraine war and just sent her 9 years into a penal colony. They sentenced her to 9 years anyway. So we had to do a prisoner swap. A arms dealer named Victor Bout, who was very notorious, got swapped for her. It was just a one-on-one swap for that guy. So people were not happy about it, but I'm glad she's home. She played again. She's happy. She's using her platform to advocate for getting more prisoners of war home. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on
Prisoners of war?
Prisoners of war. Kyle Mia, prisoners of war, missing in action. That flag, I don't know.
God.
I don't know what I was going to think here. But what are you guys' thoughts on her return to play, her resilience? People kept her in their thoughts, sent her letters, kept advocating for her release. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, that's definitely good news. And yeah, I think that it's weird, right? It's like super fucking weird that's a thing, and then we have to go about it in this way, right? To me, it seems like, isn't that like almost you know, a global thing, like we shouldn't be doing that in any country, keeping random people just cuz, right? Like, it's probably insert war crime thing here, but like like I don't know. I think that's weird. I can't talk about it really, and don't know anything about that normal policy and stuff, but like that seems crazy that's even remotely allowed. And then like on the opposite end of the spectrum, like there's people who go to Russia for like asylum, right? Like, right?
Sure.
Like, that are like, hey, I'm running away from this country and let me stay here. And I'm like, okay. And I don't know, it just seemed like just as equally you could be like, oh well, give me that guy, give me Snowden. Well, I don't know. So it's just,
I mean, yeah. I follow the situation a little bit, loosely on just ESPN updates, and like I think I saw CNN. They had the whole CNN thing with my mom loves CNN and 60-minute specials and stuff like that. So we watched this whole thing about her talking to her wife. I think it's her wife. That they did the whole special on about when she was over there. And I mean, 100% Russia. It was more about the war than about her actually having these things. I highly doubt that she never took these cannabis cartridges ever with her before on her multiple trips to play in Russia before. I personally, again, all this is all conjecture, but I'm just assuming that again, I'm not in news. Don't ever take my real, my thoughts as anything because I'm not a news person. But I feel like the chances of her as an athlete not having brought these things before at her multiple other trips to Russia and all the other years she played there is slim to none. And the chances they didn't know she had them all these other years besides this year, slim to none. But I think they let her get away with it because of her notoriety and her fame, what she was bringing to Russia with being a big name WNBA star, bringing that to Russia, bringing in tourists, bringing in money, bringing in all these good things. And they let her get away with it because they're like, oh, yeah, this is Brittney Griner. It's fine, blah, blah. It's a little slight luxury she gets, whatever. And I think then finally that year with the Ukraine war, they're like, okay, we need some leverage. We know she normally does this. So let's catch her on it this time and then use it as an excuse to try and get someone back now that can help us in this war now that we are back in this war situation. That's what I think really happened. But again, all conjecture. But I think that, for 100% happy that she's back home. She didn't deserve to be locked up in the first place because that's a stupid reason to lock someone up for years in the first place. But I think that it's weird that a person can be considered like, they can even be held to the same level as an actual war criminal that is causing deaths of people, and you just brought some cannabis oil. Like, I don't think that's equal in how heavy that offense is, in nature. So to me, that's a very lopsided trade. It's like trading the first overall pick for like, a mid-second rounder. Like that's not really a trade that's ever going to make sense. But it's like, well, if you don't trade the first overall pick, then your team collapses or something like that. Like your team doesn't exist, so you have to trade it anyway. Sort of thing. Like you have to trade it, but it's not a good deal. Like I think, yeah, for sure, Russia gets a person that is going to influence their war much more than Brittney Griner will ever influence really anything in America as far as lives and death of people, to be honest. I hope she doesn't become a war criminal or anything like that. So I would assume that that's not going to be something that she's going to have to be, coping with. But I just think that the whole thing is just like, it's just like you said, I was just crazy that, that's the extent they had to go to get her back home. And I do understand why, if that was the case, why they waited so long to try and bring her back to maybe negotiate for someone that's not so dangerous. We traded back to Russia, because not only does that affect, and I understand people's sentiments on getting Brittney Griner back home, but again, you're not just sending a person back that affects just America or just Russia. That affects the lives of all the people in that Ukraine war. So you can be indirectly, responsible for the lives of hundreds or thousands of other people that you're kind of responsible for them getting murdered, because this guy literally, from what I understand, like, it's like a Tony Stark's of like arms dealers. Like he like creates bombs and ish. Like that's a very unique skill set to make very powerful bombs. Powerful enough that the government wants to trade for you back as your first person they're thinking of getting back. And I think that is just the part that makes me like 100% wish Brittney Griner had to be there for no reason. No, at all, not even for a second. But like that just makes me feel like a little, I don't know the word, maybe saddened for the people that are going to be affected by it, I guess, more than anything. And I just, again, a lot of people probably can't think that way because they see Brittney Griner front and center and she's American and bring her back home. But it sucks that has to affect now other people's lives negatively because of, something that probably she should have never even gotten locked up. Well, not even probably. She shouldn't have gotten locked up for ever in the first place. And she probably got away with multiple times before there. But because of the circumstances they were in, she ended up getting roped into it, basically, which I wish personally that she just never went. Because I think even if she never, brought any cannabis or anything, I think it's just risky for her to have gone, period, at a time when there's political turmoil well documented in Russia. I personally would not have gone for any amount of money at that point in time because you can get wrapped up in something that can affect you living, and no amount of money brings you back to life. So I would personally would not have risked myself going to Russia at that time if I were her. And I wish she didn't. I know that again, some of it goes back to WNBA players not getting paid enough. And again, it's hard because it's an entertainment business, and you get paid based off of revenue and entertainment and TV rights and those sorts of things. And if you just don't make as much as the NBA, then you can't get paid as much. That's what it is. Now, if they are holding on to money, that's another thing. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm positive they're not making as much revenue and sales and just merchandise as NBA. I'm positive of that. But again, if the rest of it is them being greedy, that's another thing. But I do think that that sucks that she felt like she has to do that. To really enjoy her life and make a good living as a basketball player when she's surely worked hard. Obviously been gifted naturally as most athletes are, but she still worked really hard. And I think that sucks for her that she has to do that and even put herself in that position to even think about doing that. But I think I wish someone in her corner had been like, this maybe isn't worth the risk right now, not this year. Right now, and that's what I wish would have happened, so that maybe we avoid the whole situation. But hindsight's 2020 is what they say. So,
All right, that's all I had. Yeah, tough situation for her. Glad she's back though. She's playing again, so hopefully she has a good season.
Yeah, dunk on some people. Get back to it.
Yeah.
We need that. That's going to definitely get the people back in the WWE. Posterize the people, 100% watch it. I love it. I ain't dunking on nobody in my height, I'll tell you that. So I'm leaving it to her. but yeah, again, good convo, guys, and great convo, I think, and deep stuff again. Deep and insightful commentary. But yeah, it's been a great time again, and thank you guys for listening to us ramble and talk. But thanks for listening. We Procrastination Podcast. Thanks for procrastinating with us. We out again. Enjoy y'all's weekend. Peace.